Hello, and welcome. Welcome to day one of Travel Photography Demystified, a video series designed to help you improve your travel photography. I feel like I want to take a pause here and kind of do the announcer voice thing and say, and now for your host, Kartika Gupta. Okay, all right, let's get serious. So I'm so glad you guys are here, and today is day one, and today I want to really take some time and talk about something that I feel not too many people pay too much of emphasis on beyond just figuring out the day they're going to leave home and the day they're going to get back home and maybe a few days in between. So if you're thinking what I'm talking about, well, it's planning. So planning is such a huge part of any sort of travel, vacation, travel, adventure, and it becomes so much more important when you are traveling with the intention of taking photographs along your journey. So when I travel, I don't really, I'm all for impromptu trips and getting off schedule. I really do love that, and for the most part I travel with my family and with my kids, so I have to have some flexibility in my schedule, because otherwise it would just be a horrible experience and nobody would want to kind of do any sort of vacations with me or with my kids. But what I've realized is that to maintain my sanity and to make sure that I, as a professional and as a photographer, get something out of the journeys as well, I really have to make sure that everything is planned out and planned out to the T. Now, yes, in today's day and age, with so much of technology, with Instagram, with Pinterest, there's so much information at our fingertips. Sometimes it's overwhelming. I mean, how many times have you searched for top 10 places to visit in New York, or 10 free things that you want to do, you have to do in Los Angeles? I mean, it's huge. It's crazy. There are so many different lists. There's so many different options. It's very easy to become extremely overwhelmed and not even want to start. So I kind of take things, I take a slightly different approach. I am very much a paper and pencil kind of girl. I don't know how many of you remember the times when we actually had to print out Google directions because we did not have smartphones, we did not have GPS at our fingertips. And I remember driving in Detroit when I was in corporate America and actually having a sheet of paper that said turn right and then 500 feet turn left. And I got lost because I did not know where the heck I was going. The directions were not super clear. If I missed a turn and then I was completely lost. So having said that, I still feel that there is some value in some of the paper things that we have at our disposal. And by that I mean just the traditional maps that you get, and these, I just have Montana. I actually have all the states, but that's just us. We're kind of slightly weird that way. We collect maps and stuff like that. But these are extremely useful because some of these maps list out scenic drives, they list out smaller highways, and they list out some cool things that you might not necessarily find when you're doing just a GPS directional thing. I know with GPS it's the fastest route. If there's traffic, then it kind of does the automatic alter route for you, which is great. But sometimes going off the path and doing that scenic route is really beneficial. I remember this one time we were in Yellowstone, and we were actually getting out of Yellowstone, and we were trying to go along the Beartooth Highway. Now, if you've been on the Beartooth Highway, you know that it's one of the most scenic and beautiful highways in the country. You just get this bird's eye view of the entire eastern corner of Montana, of Wyoming. It's just so incredibly beautiful. And we were trying to find the Beartooth Highway, and we just took a scenic route as mentioned in the map book. And I kid you not, we were barely out of the park, and we hadn't seen any bears in the park, and we had just gotten out of the park maybe a few miles, and it was on this deserted highway, and lo and behold, there was actually a black bear that was walking along the hill by the highway. And we stopped because there was no other car there. So of course, be smart and be careful. I'm not trying to tell everybody to just stop in the middle of the road, but we literally pulled over and followed this bear from our car, and he was just walking by the hill, and he at one point came so close to the car because he was foraging for berries, and it was just an incredible experience. Now, if we had taken the route by GPS, we probably would have missed this. So keep that sense of adventure. I mean, keep these kind of things handy with you, because you never know when you might find something interesting that is maybe not listed in your traditional top 10 things to do, and it might be well worth the detour. Now, I am going to look down. I just have some notes. I want to make sure that I cover everything that I want to cover in this day one video. The other thing that I want to kind of encourage is, when you ask around, ask your friends, ask them if they know people who have been to a place that you're going to, and what they would recommend, because sometimes getting that first-hand opinion is so much better than again looking at some random strangers' Instagram to see what they've done. Don't get me wrong, I love Instagram. I think it's a great tool, it's a great visual tool, but it's again somebody else's journey. So you might want to do an additional due diligence and ask around. I remember over the summer we traveled from Delhi to Ladakh, which is the most arid desert, in a high altitude desert in India. It's in the northern part of India. And along the way we had a couple of nights halt. Now, we could have done the traditional stay in a hotel and just kind of crash for the night and get up in the morning and continue driving, because it was a pretty long drive. But we just happened to ask around, and one of our friends who was traveling with us asked his friends, and they actually recommended a fort. I mean, I kid you not, guys, it's a real fort, a fort that was used in a lot of battles in the 1700s. So this was a boutique hotel that they weren't very well advertised, so it's not like everybody knew about it, but this friend of a friend actually had stayed there, and so he recommended, he had the phone number. So along the way we just called and we just took a chance, and it was such an incredible experience. I mean, to say that I have spent a night in a fort, I don't know. I don't know if too many people can say that. Now, I'm not saying this to brag or anything, but I'm just trying to again make the point that relying just on traditional means of tourism information may not be the best for you if you want to have a truly unique experience and an adventure. So plan out your travel and plan out your photography excursions. Now, when I travel, like I said, I travel with my family. For the most part, it's just something that as a family we have decided to do because we want to give our kids the experiences that we take. So there have been a few solo trips, but even for those, I really plan out my days from the point of, if I know that the weather is going to be great a certain day and I really want to catch the sunrise, then I will schedule that in my travel plan that I'm going to be up at 6 or 5 or whatever the sunrise time is, and we are going to go to X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to photograph the sunrise. If there is a festival that's happening and I want to take pictures and we're okay as a family traveling to it, then we will. Now, my photographic excursions kind of revolve around our activities as a family. If there is something that I really want to do, I will schedule it in, but for the most part, we do things together. Now, you may say that, hey Karthika, you're really lucky, your kids kind of are accommodating, mine are not. That's okay. You have to dance to your own tune. You have to do what works best for you and for your family. Have I missed opportunities? Of course I have. Have I missed getting this amazing shot? Of course I have. But I have also had the opportunity all thanks to, you know, my family and our traveling excursions that I don't think anybody, not too many people out there have had. So it's a fine balance, and I'm okay with that balance. So when I travel, and that's part of the cheat sheet too, the way we've laid out the cheat sheet for you is that we have the number of days. So I encourage you to write down the number of days that you're traveling. So be as specific as you can. So day one, traveling from Chicago, for example, to Bozeman, I have that scheduled in my day. So I know for 5 hours on day one, I am going to be traveling. So I will kind of, and this you will see as the days progress, you will see how this travel plan translates to a lot of other things, including packing my gear, including what kind of gear that I want to take, right? So if I am traveling to Yellowstone National Park, I am going there because I want to photograph the wild animals. I'm going there because I want to do landscapes. I am going there because I want to do monuments. So based on these three things, I will make sure that the gear I carry is catered to these three things. I probably am not going to take a 50mm prime or a 35mm prime because I might not have the opportunity to do a close-up portrait. I probably will do telephoto and super telephoto. So again, because I'm planning, because I know exactly what I'm doing on each day of my trip, I can kind of take that forward into day 2, which is tomorrow. When we talk about gear, I know what gear to carry. There's also a place on the cheat sheet to write down top 10 things that you want to see or you want to photograph. So sometimes what I want to see and experience does not translate to what I want to photograph. I know a lot of times we feel the urge and the need to take our cameras with us everywhere we go and to photograph everything that we see. I hope by the end of this series you realize that that is not necessarily something you have to do. You can if you want to, but I've found over the years that when I have that mindset and that mentality, it's just nobody is happy, because I cannot be creative and I cannot be creatively on 24 hours of the day. So if I tell myself, okay, for 4 hours I am going to be photographing A, B, and C, then I know I have to be on and off at a certain time. I mean, I'm going on vacation. I want to have fun. I want to relax. That's the whole point of this, right? I want to de-stress. I don't want to add to my stress. And of course, I want to, photography is a way of living for me. So I want to make sure that I take the pictures that I can then translate into work that I can sell and I can make money. So definitely think about having some on times and off times just to balance your vacation. So the cheat sheet actually has top, must-see things and must photograph in location. Feel free to put down what, based on your research, going back to, simple travel tourism guides. These are things that you can get for free, at least here in the States, for each state that you want to visit. So I have Colorado, I have Montana, I have all the states that I routinely, regularly visit. In January, I just order their guides. And not only are these guides super, it's so thick, right? It's not only super informational, it also has some incredible imagery. So if you are kind of, at that point where you don't know you want some inspiration, you don't know what you want to shoot, this is a great way, because they curate the best of the best and they put it in these guides. So it's not only for information, it's also a great way to get inspiration. So I definitely recommend you order them if you're traveling here in the States, or get them, buy them. There's nothing to me, there's nothing more satisfying than actually holding a physical book and flipping through the pages and getting lost in some of the imagery. That's just my mindset and where I come from. So I really find these books very, very beneficial for a multitude of reasons. So write down what what your schedule is going to look like. Day one, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be traveling? Are you going to be traveling for 12 hours in the day? Fine, that's just a day that you're going to be traveling. Does that mean that you're going to reach your hotel really late at night? Maybe you don't want to schedule a morning sunrise shoot, because that's probably not going to happen. And if things get missed, then the rest of the whole schedule just gets out of whack. So I really encourage you, write down your schedule, write down the days that you are traveling, the days that are off days, the days where you want to just have fun, the days you want to focus on photographing things that you really want to photograph. And that kind of ties into your top 10 things or top 5 things, whatever your number is, in all the places that you're going to visit, will help you with your schedule. So on the cheat sheet, there's also a little box where you can write down websites and important phone numbers. Now, I know I'm kind of going maybe a little bit off the grind here in terms of having everything on your phone, but I have been in situations where suddenly my internet doesn't work. I don't have connectivity. If you've ever been to Ladakh, or if you've heard of Ladakh, it's one of those places where there is very little cell coverage, because it is such a politically important border that the Indian government has controlled a lot of the cell phone coverage. So there was no internet, there was very little cell coverage. So having, and we were on the road, so it's not like I had easy accessibility to charging my phone. So if I had everything on my phone, chances are after a few days I would be stuck, because I would have no phone, no battery, and no way to charge my phone. So I always have a plan B. Again, this goes back to planning, because if you know you are going to go into areas like this, then I strongly encourage you to have a backup plan and to print stuff out and to keep it with you. Keep important phone numbers, keep emergency phone numbers. Forget Ladakh, there have been places even here in the States when we've traveled and we've kind of, taken a not popular highway because we wanted to be a little adventurous, where we've had no cell coverage, where we've had, the phone just, there's nothing to do. There's no way to connect to the outside world. So things, and I think this, I don't mean to scare you. It's I think part of the adventure. Just be prepared for it. So I hope this helped. I hope you got some tips out of it. If I were to summarize it, I would say plan out your days to the T, whether you have specific photography days, you have specific adventure days, you have just days where you just want to chill out with your friends. Plan them out so that you come back from a trip feeling like you've accomplished everything that you wanted to accomplish when you were planning it out. So, plan everything to the T. Make your list of top 5 or 6 things that you want to photograph, that you want to see, that you want to experience, and help that tie into your schedule. Keep important phone numbers and email addresses and websites handy, and not just rely on your phone. And try and think about alternative ways of doing research based on where you want to go. So, get the guidebooks, ask your friends, connect with locals. It's a very different experience when you travel with a local as opposed to you travel as just a tourist. You don't necessarily get a full experience, in my opinion. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's a little bit over, it's like a 19-minute video, so if you want to go back and listen to something, I hope this is all helpful. I will try to be a little bit more organized. I know my thoughts are kind of all over the place, but I'm hoping that this format is okay with you guys, because I really want it to be conversational. I don't want it to be instructional. That's not the point of this. I want to share my experiences, and hopefully it helps you in even a tiny way to kind of have a more fuller, richer experience when you travel and get those amazing pictures that I really want to see. So thanks so much for watching. That's a wrap for day 1. The link to the cheat sheet and the video is in the email that was sent out. And if you feel this is beneficial, shoot me a note, ask me questions. I am on social media, I am on Facebook, and I would love to connect with you further. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.